Welcome, everyone, to today's Explainer. Go ahead and grab your notes, get settled in, because we are jumping right into what I like to call a masterclass in precise, high-stakes communication. Think of me as your whiteboard teacher today, and I'm sharing a toolkit that literally separates average communicators from truly strategic executives. We're looking at conditional strategy. That's the exact words you use to set boundaries, negotiate, and forecast risk. Whether you're drafting a heavy-duty contract or just sending a critical email to the board, the vocabulary you choose dictates your leverage. So, let's get right to it. Right off the bat, consider this stark contrast. Quote 1, if you finish your work, you can leave. Versus quote 2, you can leave only if you finish your work. Do you notice how a simple vocabulary upgrade drastically changes the strictness of that business requirement? The first one, it's just a casual possibility, but the second one is an ironclad boundary. And that right there is the power of what we're learning today. Here is our quick roadmap for the session. We'll start with the power of precision, then move into strict requirements. After that, we'll cover forecasting and risk management. And finally, we'll end with a quick executive communication quiz. Okay, section 1. The power of precision. Now, in business, precision isn't just a nice to have, it's absolutely the foundation of your logic. And at the core of this precision are what we call condition connectors. Simply put, these are the words or phrases that express a condition that must happen before another action can happen. Think of them as the structural beams of your agreements. They answer the question, under what condition? The basic structure is always just condition plus result. Let's start with the absolute basics, the ones we use every day, if and unless. If expresses a possible condition. Listen to how this plays out in some everyday executive examples. If market trends hold, we will launch. If the budget is approved, we start tomorrow. If the client calls, route them to me. If we miss the deadline, we lose the account. If you need resources, send a request. Or, if the data is correct, our strategy works. But here's the thing, relying solely on if in high-stakes environments, it leaves way too much room for ambiguity. And that brings us to unless, which literally just means if not. Listen to how restrictive this instantly becomes. Unless we secure funding, the project pauses. Unless you sign the NDA, we cannot share details. Unless shipping improves, we change vendors. Unless the board objects, we proceed. Unless metrics drop, maintain the current ad spend. And finally, unless she approves, the deal is off. It's a great basic tool, but as executives, we need to go deeper than the basics. Which brings us to section 2. Strict requirements and negotiations. We are moving from basic possibilities to drawing strict, uncrossable boundaries. Let's revisit our opening example, focusing on the connector only if. Only if means and only in that specific situation. It is significantly stronger than a simple if. Adding that single word explicitly defines the boundary. Think about these scenarios. We will finalize the merger only if the audit is clean. You can access the server only if you have clearance. We offer a refund only if the product is defective. The clause is triggered only if revenue drops below target. You may delegate this task only if you oversee the final output. Or the contract renews only if both parties agree. It really locks it down, doesn't it? Now let's map out 3 more highly formal connectors for setting those firm boundaries. First up is provided that, which basically means only if or on the condition that. It's incredibly useful for contingencies. For example, the deal closes provided that the funds clear. We proceed provided that you meet the KPIs. Provided that legal signs off, we launch. Provided that we stay under budget, you have green light. We approve provided that the timeline is met. And we expand provided that the risk is mitigated. Second, we have providing that, which is completely interchangeable with the first one. We sign providing that the terms are acceptable. We continue providing that quality doesn't drop. Providing that we have board approval, it's a go. Providing that the prototype works, we manufacture. Providing that supply chains stabilize, we scale. Or simply providing that you log your hours, you get paid. Third, and this is a big one for ongoing service agreements, is as long as. This emphasizes that the condition continues over time. The compliance must be continuous. Listen to these. We collaborate as long as the retainer is paid. As long as you maintain compliance, you retain access. The warranty holds as long as the software is updated. We are safe as long as we hold market share. We share info as long as the NDA is active. And as long as communication remains open, the partnership thrives. Now, here's a really interesting nuance in formality. Let's compare provided that with on condition that. While provided that sets a formal boundary, on condition that is your ultimate heavy-hitting tool. It's predominantly used in strict legal and business contexts, and it leaves absolutely zero room for misinterpretation. Feel the weight of these examples. The severance is paid on condition that the non-compete is signed. We grant the license on condition that you report quarterly. The data is shared on condition that it remains encrypted. Access is granted on condition that protocols are followed. The settlement is finalized on condition that the lawsuit is dropped, and they partnered on condition that branding was equal. You can literally hear the legal weight in that phrase. Okay, Section 3, Forecasting and Risk Management. Now that we have locked down our boundaries, let's step into the future and see how this builds into the strategist's toolkit for navigating hypotheticals. First up, even if. This means the result will happen regardless of the condition. It shows unshakable determination. We proceed even if costs rise. We win even if the competitor launches first. We meet the deadline even if we lose a week. We maintain course even if the manager resigns. We are safe even if the forecast is wrong. We hold our ground even if negotiations stall. Next is in case, which means because something might happen. This is pure precaution, folks. Back up the files in case the server crashes. Prepare the brief in case the client asks for data. Keep records in case of an audit. Have a contingency in case the flight is delayed. Rent generators in case we need backup power. Source alternatives in case the primary supplier fails. And finally, assuming that, which means if we accept that something is true. Assuming that inflation cools, margins grow. Assuming that the team stays intact, we hit our goals. Assuming that the patent is granted, we dominate. Assuming that the software scales, we roll out globally. Assuming that the beta test succeeds, we go live. And assuming that logistics hold up, delivery is Friday. These are absolute essentials for your scenario planning. And this brilliantly illustrates the difference between waiting for a trigger and taking proactive precaution. Just compare these two phrases. I'll call you if I need help. Here, help may or may not be needed, right? You're just waiting for the situation to occur. Versus, I'll take my phone in case I need help. In this one, the precaution is taken before the situation even happens. That is the fundamental mindset shift of a proactive leader. Now, when we're in the boardroom brainstorming, we need connectors for alternatives. Supposing means what if or imagine that. It's perfect for those high-level strategic discussions. Supposing the market crashes, what is our pivot? Supposing they reject the offer. Supposing the CEO steps down. Supposing the technology becomes obsolete. Supposing we doubled our ad spend. Supposing we acquire their startup. Then we have whether, which is totally critical for choosing between two possibilities, option A or option B. It forces you to look at the alternatives. We must decide whether to buy or build. Let's discuss whether to hire internally or outsource. We need to know whether the ROI justifies the risk. The board asks whether to expand to Europe or Asia. Determine whether the product is ready. Decide whether we should hold or sell. All right, Section 4. It is time for the Executive Communication Quiz. Let's see what you've learned. Okay, class, here is your first scenario. Person A asks, "Can I borrow your car?" Person B replies, "Yes, blank you drive carefully." Think back to the formal boundaries we discussed earlier. What fits best in that blank? I'll give you a second to lock in your answer. And the answer is provided that. Yes, provided that you drive carefully. It establishes a really clear, formal boundary without sounding unnecessarily aggressive. Let's move to scenario 2. Person A asks, "What happens if it rains?" Person B replies, "I'll still go, blank it rains." For this one, we need the connector that communicates absolute determination, completely regardless of the obstacle. What do you think? You got it. The answer is even if. I'll still go even if it rains. You are signaling unwavering commitment to the result no matter what the conditions are. All right, scenario 3. Person A asks, "Should I bring an umbrella?" Person B says, "Yes, take one, blank at rains." Focus on the vocabulary required for proactive risk management here. What is the precaution? The answer is in case. Yes, take one in case it rains. This perfectly highlights the precautionary nature of taking action before the risk even materializes. Finally, scenario 4. Person A asks, "And can I stay with you?" Person B answers, "Yes, blank, you don't make too much noise." We are looking for the connector that demands an ongoing, continuous condition over time. And the correct answer is as long as. Yes, as long as you don't make too much noise. It dictates that the compliance must be continuous for the entire duration of the agreement. So, stepping back, the crucial point is this 3-tiered framework we've built on the board today. You have your basic conditions like if and unless. Then you upgrade to strict conditions like provided that, only if, and on condition that for your tight contracts. And finally, you utilize hypotheticals like even if, in case, and whether for your strategic forecasting. Mastering this framework genuinely upgrades your speaking and writing to be naturally logical and highly sophisticated. I want to leave you with one final question to ponder today. Think about your last contract negotiation, or honestly, even just an important email you sent this week. Did you leave money on the table or expose yourself to unnecessary risk simply by using a basic if instead of a stricter alternative? Take this toolkit, apply it to your very next communication, and just watch how it transforms your professional leverage. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer class, and I'll see you next time.